In the bustling city of Anyugu, Oena was known as a successful businessman. Expensive suits, luxury cars, and a mansion that spoke of wealth. But behind closed doors, his marriage to Adana was crumbling. 7 years without a child. 7 years of whispers, judgment, and his mother's relentless pressure. Society mocked him. Friends questioned his manhood. And every day, the silence between them grew louder. Adana prayed, hoped, and endured. But Oena's pride couldn't bear the shame. The woman who once made him smile now reminded him only of what he didn't have. A storm was coming. That night, the silence finally shattered. Oena's anger erupted like a volcano. 7 years of frustration poured out in cruel words. He called her barren, cursed, worthless. Adana begged, reminding him of their vows, their love, their promises before God. But Oena's heart had hardened. He called his lawyer right there in front of her and demanded divorce papers. As Adana packed her belongings with trembling hands, every folded dress carried a memory of happier times. The maids whispered. Oena stood cold and unmoved. By morning, she would be gone. Cast out like she never mattered. 10 o'clock at night. Adana walked the dark streets of Anyugu alone, one small bag in hand. She had no destination, no plan, just pain. Street vendors were closing their stalls. Dogs slept on corners. A few people stared, but no one asked questions. Her mind replayed everything. Their wedding day, his promises, their first kiss. Now she was nothing to him. Walking until her feet found Zainab's door, she knocked softly. When her friend opened it, Adana collapsed into her arms, sobbing. That night, sleep wouldn't come. But through her tears, she whispered a promise to herself. I will not remain broken. Days turned into weeks at Zainab's small flat. Adana barely ate. She couldn't speak. She sat by the window for hours, staring at nothing, replaying the nightmare. Zainab tried everything, cooking her favorite meals, suggesting walks to the market, but Adana couldn't face the world. What would she say if someone asked about Oena? Then one afternoon, Zainab asked a question that changed everything. Have you ever been tested? Are you sure the problem was you? The words hung in the air. Adana had never questioned it. Oena said it was her and she believed him. But what if he was wrong? Life Hope Medical Center was quiet and professional. Dr. Uche, a kind-faced physician, listened carefully as Zainab explained Adana's situation. 7 years of marriage. Divorced for being barren. Never tested. As nurses drew blood and performed scans, Adana's hands trembled. What if Oena was right? What if she truly was broken? The tests took hours. Then came the hardest part, waiting 2 days for results. Adana couldn't eat or sleep. She prayed more than she had in months. When they returned to the clinic, sitting in that waiting room, she prepared herself for the worst. But the truth would shock everyone. Dr. Uche smiled as he reviewed the papers. Madame Adana, he said gently, everything looks perfect. Your reproductive system is completely healthy. Your hormones are normal. You're ovulating well. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Adana froze. Her hands flew to her mouth as tears streamed down her face. Zainab jumped up, shouting with joy. 7 years. 7 years of blame, shame, and guilt, and it was all a lie. Dr. Uche recommended that Oena get tested instead. Outside the clinic, sitting on a bench, Adana couldn't stop shaking. It wasn't me, she whispered. All this time, it wasn't me. Weeks passed. Slowly, Adana began to heal. She helped Zainab with tailoring, started waking early, and even laughed occasionally. Then she said the words that would change everything. I want to start a food business. Using Zainab's veranda, she set up a small stand. Every morning at 7, she cooked jollof rice, beans, moi, and soup. Workers from nearby offices lined up. Word spread quickly. This woman made the best food in the area. Customers complimented her. Madam, you're glowing, one said. Adana smiled. Maybe I'm finally free. The broken woman was slowly becoming whole again. One morning, a man approached the stand, tall, with kind eyes and a calm presence. "Your jollof smells too good to pass," he said with a gentle smile. His name was Kofi. He worked at a nearby firm. "Spicy or normal?" Adana asked. "Very spicy," he replied. "I like my food to fight back." For the first time in months, Adana genuinely laughed. Kofi came back the next day, and the next, and the next. He never stayed long, never pushed for conversation, but he always made her smile. Adana didn't think much of it at first, just another customer. But Kofi saw something special. Weeks turned into months. Kofi became more than a customer. He brought gifts to support her business: plantains, onions, bottled water. They talked about her dreams of opening a restaurant, about life and loss. One afternoon, sitting on a plastic chair beside her stand, Kofi shared his story. His wife had died in a car crash years ago. "I haven't tried to love anyone until I met you," he confessed. "You remind me what peace looks like." Adana's heart raced. "I'm scared," she whispered. Kofi smiled gently. "I'm not Oena. I won't break your heart." Slowly, carefully, she began to trust again. 6 months later, they married in a small, intimate ceremony. No extravagant decorations, no flashy displays, just genuine love and joy. Zainab danced the loudest, shouting, "I told you! Good things were coming." Adana wore a simple white dress and carried a small bouquet. Kofi's vows brought tears to everyone's eyes. Their new life was peaceful. Kofi was gentle, made her laugh, listened when she spoke. He helped expand her food business into a proper restaurant. Every morning he kissed her forehead and whispered, "I love you, my queen." For the first time in years, Adana felt truly safe. She was home. Months into their marriage, Adana started feeling strange. Weak, nauseous. The smell of cooking made her sick, something that had never happened before. After 2 weeks, Kofi insisted they visit the hospital. Sitting in the clinic, Adana bit her nails nervously. When the nurse returned with results, she was smiling widely. "Congratulations, madam. You're pregnant." The room spun. Adana covered her mouth, tears pouring freely. Kofi jumped up, laughing and crying simultaneously. "We're going to be parents," he shouted. That night, Adana couldn't stop crying, but this time they were tears of pure joy. God had answered her prayers after all these years. The months flew by with excitement and preparation. But the biggest surprise came during a routine scan. As the doctor moved the probe across Adana's belly, his eyes widened. "Madame," he said slowly, "there are 3 heartbeats." Adana screamed. Kofi cried. "Triplets! 3 boys!" Not just the child she was told she'd never have, but 3 at once. The pregnancy was healthy. And on a calm Saturday morning, surrounded by love and prayers, Adana gave birth to 3 beautiful sons, Chidi, Emeka, and Tunde. Holding them against her chest, she whispered through tears, "I'm not barren." God proved them all wrong. While Adana was building her new life, Oena was drowning. His business was thriving, his cars were newer, his suits more expensive, but he had no child. After divorcing Adana, he dated 3 different women. None of them got pregnant. One even left him after a year, saying she couldn't live with his controlling mother. Mama Oena now blamed him. "You ran off the good one," she would shout. Late at night, alone in his big house, Obena's mind wandered to Adana. Where was she? Was she okay? Had she remarried? But pride kept him from reaching out. His empire felt empty. Obena's friend Kunle called with news. "There's someone you need to meet. Her name is Kioma. Fashion designer from Lagos, wealthy family, very fine, and she wants a serious man." They met at an upscale restaurant. Kioma was stunning, tall, glamorous, confident. She spoke about business and travel with authority. But when Oena brought up family, she noticed his obsession with children. "I've been ready for children forever," he said. "I just haven't found the right woman." Kioma raised an eyebrow. "You were married before, right? What happened?" Oena lied smoothly. "She couldn't give me a child." Kioma nodded. "I want children too. Maybe 2 or 3. Within a month, Oena and Kioma were inseparable. He spoiled her with gifts, designer clothes, phones, even a car. One day, Kioma said bluntly, "Let's not waste time. If we're serious, let's get married." Oena was shocked but thrilled. "You're ready?" "I don't believe in dating for 10 years, she replied. That night, Oena called his event planner. The wedding would be massive, bigger than anything Anyugu had ever seen. Red carpet, Rolls-Royce, live band from Ghana, international guests. But this wasn't just about love. Oena wanted to prove something to everyone, and deep down, he wanted one specific person to see it: Adana. The wedding preparations consumed Obena's life. Every detail had to be perfect: the venue, the decorations, the guest list. Social media buzzed with excitement. Oena and Kioma was trending. But behind the glamour, cracks were forming. Kioma had been trying to get pregnant for months. Nothing. Every morning, negative test strips. Every evening, silent disappointment. One night, she finally spoke. "Oena, should we see a doctor, just to be sure everything is fine?" His face darkened. "What do you mean by that?" "I mean, we've been together for months, no pregnancy." Obena's anger flared. "You sound just like Adana. Are you blaming me?" Kioma went silent, but doubt had planted itself. One afternoon, Adana's phone buzzed. Zainab picked it up and froze. "Adana, it's a wedding invitation." "From who?" Adana asked, bathing one of the triplets. Zainab turned the phone slowly. "Oena." Adana's heart stopped. She read the thick gold envelope on the screen. Oena and Kioma, the royal union. And there, printed clearly, her name on the guest list. Front row seat. Zainab was furious. "This is an insult. He wants to disgrace you." But Adana stood quietly, holding her baby. Then she smiled, a calm, knowing smile. "Let him have his wedding," she said softly. "It's okay." But something deeper was brewing. The plan began quietly. Adana went to her wardrobe and pulled out a stunning yellow gown, elegant, sophisticated, powerful. Zainab brought out her makeup kit. "If we're doing this, we do it well." "I don't want to look loud," Adana said. "I want to look peaceful, but powerful." They ordered matching yellow shorts and crisp white shirts with bow ties for Chidi, Emeka, and Tunde. Zainab called a contact and booked a black Rolls-Royce Phantom. The night before the wedding, Adana couldn't sleep. Kofi held her. "You don't have to do this." She smiled. "I want to. Not to prove anything to him, but to myself." The wedding day arrived. The entire city buzzed with excitement. Oena and Kioma was trending. The venue was spectacular. A giant waterfront hall with red carpets, golden decorations, and cameras everywhere. Politicians and business moguls filled the seats. Inside, Kioma stood in her sparkling white gown, adjusting her veil. Oena waited at the altar in his white agbada with gold embroidery, checking his watch nervously. Then it happened. A sleek black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up outside. The door opened slowly. Out stepped Adana in her flowing yellow gown. Beside her, 3 beautiful boys in matching yellow and white. The hall went completely silent. Time seemed to stop. Adana walked slowly, gracefully, each step deliberate and dignified. Chidi held her left hand, Emeka her right, little Tunde in the middle. 3 beautiful boys, her living proof. The crowd parted like the Red Sea, mouths dropping open in disbelief. Whispers erupted like thunder. "Who is that woman? Wait, is that his ex-wife? She has triplets, 3 boys." Phones shot up. Camera flashes exploded like lightning. Social media posts began instantly. Oena stood frozen at the altar, his legs weak, his breath caught in his throat. His heart pounded so loud he could hear nothing else. He grabbed Kunli's arm desperately, his voice barely a whisper. "Tell me I'm dreaming. Please tell me this isn't real." Kunli could only stare, his own mouth open. "Bro, she has children. 3 of them." Adana reached the front row, the exact seat Oena had mockingly reserved for her humiliation, and sat down with quiet dignity. Her sons climbed onto her lap, whispering innocently, "Mommy, we made it." She kissed their foreheads, her heart full. "Yes, my babies. We made it." Kioma entered the hall moments later, her white gown sparkling like diamonds, her veil flowing behind her like a cloud. But something was wrong. The silence, the frozen faces, Obena's pale, ghostly expression. Her heart began to race. She reached the altar, her hands trembling. "Oena, what's going on?" she whispered urgently. He couldn't speak. His mouth moved, but no words came. Kioma's eyes followed the stairs and landed on Adana, the woman in yellow, the 3 beautiful boys. "Who is that woman?" Her voice cracked. "Who are those children?" Obena's voice was barely audible. That's Adana, my ex-wife." The world tilted. Kioma's chest tightened. Are those her children?" Adana stood slowly, holding little Tunde against her hip. Her voice was clear, strong, echoing through the silent hall. "Yes, they are my sons." The hall exploded in gasps and whispers. Kioma turned to Oena, her face a mixture of fury, betrayal, and heartbreak. Her voice rose, amplified by the microphone. "You told me she was barren. You said she couldn't give you children. You lied to me." Tears streamed down her face as the truth shattered everything. Kioma's hands shook violently as she dropped her bouquet. The white roses scattered across the stage like fallen tears. Her voice broke. "I can't marry you, Oena. Not today. Not ever. You're not the man I thought you were." She gathered her gown and ran down the aisle, her veil trailing behind her like a broken dream. Her bridesmaids hurried after her, their own faces streaked with tears. The wedding hall erupted into complete chaos. Guests stood, talking loudly, pointing, their voices rising in a storm of judgment and disbelief. Phones were everywhere, recording, posting, sharing. Within seconds, the videos went viral. Oena exposed. The barren lie, Triplets' revenge. But Adana remained calm. She stood gracefully, took her son's hands and walked toward the exit with her head held high, not rushing, not hiding, just walking with the quiet dignity of someone who had nothing left to prove. Zainab met her at the door, eyes shining with tears of pride. "You did it, Adana. You showed the whole world." Adana shook her head gently, a soft smile on her lips. "I didn't do it for the world, sister. I just came to be seen, to let the truth speak for itself." They stepped into the Rolls-Royce. Inside, Adana held her 3 sons close, kissing their heads as they drove away. She was peaceful. She was whole. She was finally, beautifully free. 3 days passed like 3 years for Oena. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The videos haunted him everywhere. His phone, television, even strangers on the street recognized him and turned away in disgust. His company was crumbling. Investors withdrew. Partners distanced themselves. His mother refused to speak to him. On the 3rd evening, he stood outside Adana's modest home, his heart pounding with shame. He looked nothing like the proud businessman who had thrown her out years ago. His shirt was wrinkled and untucked. His eyes were red and swollen from sleepless nights. His hands trembled as he knocked. When Adana opened the door, she stood there calm and composed. "Oena." Her voice was steady, no anger, no fear, just acknowledgement. He couldn't meet her eyes. "Adana, I came to say something. Something I should have said years ago." His voice cracked thick with emotion. I ruined everything. I destroyed the most precious thing I ever had. I judged you wrongly. I insulted you. I blamed you for something that was never your fault. I let my pride, my ego, my stupid arrogance destroy our marriage. Tears streamed down his face as he slowly knelt before her. Yesterday, I finally went for tests. The doctor confirmed it. Low sperm count from an untreated infection I had years ago. It was me, Adana. All those 7 years of pain, all those tears you cried, all that shame I put on you. It was me, all along. His shoulders shook with sobs. I called you barren. I called you cursed. I threw you out like trash. And you were perfect. You were always perfect. Can you ever forgive a fool like me? 1 month had passed, but it felt like a lifetime for both of them. Oena's world had collapsed completely. His company lost 3 major investors who publicly cited character concerns. Half his staff resigned, unwilling to be associated with his name. The mansion that once hosted parties now stood silent and cold. His neighbors crossed the street to avoid him. His mother had moved back to the village, too ashamed to face her friends. Oena sat alone in his study every evening, staring at the fertility clinic reports, understanding too late what his pride had cost him. Everything, his reputation, his respect, his dignity, the woman who truly loved him, all destroyed by his own arrogance. Meanwhile, across town, Adana's home was filled with warmth and laughter. In the kitchen, she hummed softly while stirring a pot of rich okra soup, the aroma filling every corner of their modest but love-filled home. Kofi knelt under the sink, tools spread around him, fixing the leaky tap while making silly jokes that made her laugh. This tap is stubborn like your jollof rice recipe, won't give up its secrets, he teased. The triplets, Chidi, Emeka, and Tundi, sat on the living room floor, giggling at cartoons, their innocent laughter like music. One of them looked up suddenly. Mommy, will we be famous like you one day? Adana laughed, her heart full. My love, you'll grow up knowing something more important than fame. Your worth, your value, your strength. Kofi walked over, wiping his hands, and added with that gentle smile, and you'll grow up knowing how incredibly strong your mother is. That evening, they gathered at the dining table. A simple meal, but rich with love, peace, and gratitude. This was her reward. This was her vindication. Not the viral videos or the public justice, but this, a family, genuine love, and the freedom to finally be herself. 2 lives, 2 completely different endings.